Who looks the richest? 30-year-old women judge each other. I saw this video on the Jubilee channel and thought, I'm going to react to this from the perspective of an almost 50-year-old woman who has invested the last 20 plus years in teaching other women how to create financial independence and become financially free. One thing I do want to say, just based on the title, is one of my intentions, my wishes, part of my vision for the world is that women do less judging each other and more supporting each other, because we have so many models of men who have become financially free, so many male millionaires and billionaires that are seen and celebrated, and we don't have as many models for successful women. And I do think that there are some things just in our current socioeconomic environment, gender bias in the financial services industry, like a lot of industry, where the deck is a little bit stacked against women. I don't want to be weird about it or defeatist about it, but I want to be real about it. And I think because of that, even more, I want to see women lifting each other up, supporting each other, cheering each other on, and not judging. So just had to mention that from the title. But let's go ahead and see what these ladies have to say.
30 introduces distinct pressures for women. We brought together 7 30-year-old women to confront the realities of this milestone. This is Timelines.
I think about that. Did turning 30 trigger something in me? I think for me, it was a lot more 31. Like 30 was like, okay, I'm here. And then 31 was like, oh my God, it keeps going. So I was like way more impacted by 31 than 30. But I did have a vision of being financially free by the time I was 30. And I was on track. I had taken $10,000 of my money, turned that into over $6 million in real estate over the years, having 35 properties all around the United States. So I was actually on track to be financially free by the time I was 30. And then in the 2008 global financial crisis, it just completely wiped everything out like a series of dominoes. I ended up being forced to declare bankruptcy, losing my own home to foreclosure, having to start all over. So I think that this age, this timeline does resonate very powerfully with me, but maybe not in the way that it does with these women. Let's see.
On this piece of paper, please write down from 1 to 10 the number that reflects how well you're doing in life compared to other 30-year-old women.
That right there, how well are you doing compared to other 30-year-old women? And you're just guessing. What does that mean, how well you're doing? And why are we comparing ourselves to each other? I think that a comparison can bring a lot of pain, and it's really more about where you're at in terms of like where you want to be. You're not in a race against other women. You're basically looking at what's that life that you want to create, and do you feel like you're on track for that? Are you enjoying your life? Stuff like that. So I feel like just right off the bat, I'm like, oh, it's a little skewed.
How much money do you make per year?
$75,000 per year. I feel kind of in the middle about it, a little conflicted, just because I feel like it's a good amount of money to make, but living in LA and with how the economy is right now, I feel like it's not really cutting it.
Yeah, I mean, making $75,000 a year at the time I'm doing this video, that is above the median income for just people in the United States. And the fact that she's a woman and she's a woman of color, I'm like, okay, so you're doing better than average on the income side, which is not wealth. When they're talking about which woman is the richest, that's not about salary. I hope they get into that. But salary has, it can affect it, right? Giving you more opportunities to go and grow and build wealth. Ultimately, it's not about how much you make. It's about what you do with it and how you get your money growing for you, right? That's what's really important. But I understand why they're talking about salary. Okay. But living in LA at $75,000 a year, that would be tough.
Do you think this person makes more or less money than you?
You look like you're very creative, music, dance, something like that, but I feel like you have a really creative career and you make a good amount of money. So I'm gonna say more. $50,000.
I mean, you could really go either way on that. I think this is interesting where it's just based on looking at each other. Okay, just based on how you look and how you're dressed today, and I guess maybe their energy and the way they present themselves. I don't know that you can tell how much somebody makes by just looking at them and what they're wearing. And even today, I'm wearing my like cute YouTube outfit. I did my makeup, but when I'm just like hanging out at home with the kids, I'm in my sweats and the ponytail, and I think people would probably say like I don't make very much money on those days. These days, you tell me. I've found that this is like my divine right style where I feel very confident and good about myself. But I think that this whole like how much does somebody make based on their looks, it's a little weird.
I am a creative, I am a dancer, but it's a struggling business. But right now I am working full-time doing TikTok live stream.
Can you imagine? Like, okay, so I'm a child of the 80s and say like, oh, my full-time job is TikTok. Well, of course, it didn't even exist then. But I think it's interesting that we have jobs, and opportunities now that definitely did not exist before.
I feel like you're very much of like maybe a personal trainer or just very fit and very like intentional with what you're doing in your schedule and your life. So I'm gonna say more. Oh, did not see that coming.
I actually make about $20K a year at this point. I'm a group fitness instructor, like once a week, all day long. I love it. You kind of captured my essence really well, but I am also freshly out of grad school for psychotherapy, actually. So I'm in that weird in between where I'm making peanuts. Hey. I feel like your wardrobe is probably really extensive, so I would say that's why more.
I'm an actor, comedian, writer, and director.
I like how she says that with confidence. Like at first I'm like, you're a schoolgirl, you're 30? Like what is happening with this outfit? And they called the fitness thing with the other gal. That's interesting. I don't know if they were told to like dress in a way that reflects what you do. I don't know why they would think she has an extensive wardrobe based on what she's wearing, but on the other hand, women, we do tend to trust our intuition a little bit more than people who, grew up labeled as men. So maybe there's something to that.
This year I made $47,000. I am peeping the style. It's amazing. You come off like you have yourself together, and maybe you have a professional job. I feel like I could see you typing.
The nails are done, but they're short.
And then maybe like I don't know. Do you have an earpiece? I don't know, something like that.
I have AirPods.
That away.
I make $120 a year, but that's very, very recent. I have my own company. I started it about 6 years ago and only just started taking a salary as of November of last year. The short nails, done nails, that's very Sherlock of you.
So
yeah, see, that was actually useful. I'm not going to be getting my nails done because I'm, on the keyboard a lot, and that would just be like really irritating. So the long nails thing, like at least that's based on something. Like I think that's useful. But I think it's interesting also to note that the person who's making the most right now so far, I don't know how many people they're going to bring on, but she's an entrepreneur, and when you look at, according to the research survey that one of my colleagues did, the most extensive research survey to date on millionaires, and you look at like the top 5 professions of people that are most likely to become millionaires, the number one is entrepreneur or business owner, because everything else, your opportunities are capped. So yeah, in some ways there's more risk. You can also be an entrepreneur on the low, like just trying to make it work, not making any money. And like she said, this is something more recent, but on the other hand, like the opportunity is so much greater. So I'm glad that she is able to make it work.
So do you type?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, this is tough. We're looking at wardrobe. You look like you're put together for a weekend wardrobe. I feel like your makeup is very, I want to say demure, but I think that's just the brain rot talking. So it's very toned down, but still professional. So I feel like you also have a professional job. I'm gonna say slightly more just because I started taking a salary last year, and you've been doing it for longer than 6 months or so, then maybe slightly more.
Are those hair extensions? Okay, over there.
Hair extensions over there. See, I would almost think the opposite. Like, I know a lot of people, well, I don't know if I know a lot of people, but there are certainly a subset of people who maybe don't make a lot of money, but spend a very large percentage of the income they do make on their hair. And so for somebody having hair extensions, like, I might actually vote the other way, but that's just based on my limited experience and thoughts.
Oh, but close.
Close.
Yeah.
I make like between $80,000 and $90,000 a year. I am a wellness influencer. I make pretty much all of my money from brand deals on Instagram.
Brand deals on Instagram. That sounds so fancy. So yeah, look at this. The two people who make the most, both entrepreneurs, but to be able to like make serious money on Instagram, like, she's obviously figured something out. That's pretty cool.
Most of the people that I notice make a lot of money in this world don't really dress like they make a lot of money. I know multimillionaires that wear like literally these slides every day, and like that's what they wear. Like, so for me, that's what I would go off of. I'm gonna say make more. She's out of here.
Hey.
Oh my God, no way.
Oh yeah. I was making around $24,000 last year working at a daycare. And then my partner called me up and she said, oh my God, our book's gonna be in Barnes & Noble at the Grove. So I said, I'm coming to LA. I got, my family down here, let's go. And so here I am.
So I feel like although
I would not have guessed working at a daycare. In fact, like, I guess everybody here is 30, but she looks like more experienced, more confident, like based on what I can tell. And what's the book about? Like, I'm made of questions right now. I don't know if they'll cover that.
Over here right now, like last year, if you'd have asked me the same question, I'd be standing over there. And it's because I was relying a lot on like agencies and different managers, and no one was really pushing me the way that I felt I should be pushed. And it wasn't until I made my own media kit and started reaching out and doing my own agency manager work for myself that I actually started getting these bigger contracts.
I feel like I'm looking in the future. Like, it's gonna be okay.
Okay, like,
Right. Like, this is.
I like that. And that feels very supportive versus judgy too. And I think when you're on that entrepreneurial track, like we're talking about, like there can be that range, but there is the opportunity.
This is so educational because I don't ever talk to anyone about money at all.
Yeah.
That's really interesting because my friends and I probably talk about money a lot more than people should, but out of grad school, that's what you kind of do. I think my day-to-day comparison is with people who are doing a lot more than I am, because I always assume that I started a little bit late, so to speak, seeing that a lot of people have different paths and some of them are objectively a lot more to deal with, I think, than the environment that I grew up in was very humbling.
Let's try an experiment. Everyone.
Okay, so we just got to talk about for a sec. Like, it's interesting, City. I don't ever talk to anybody about money. And money is a very taboo subject in a lot of families and communities. And it's crass to talk about money, and you're not supposed to talk about money. And so everyone wanders around feeling like they're supposed to have this money stuff all figured out, but no one does. And then, oh, what's wrong with me that I haven't got this dialed in? So there's just like all this like judgment and shame and confusion and rah. And one of the things that I'm passionate about is creating a sacred container, a safe space to actually have these money conversations that we need to have in order to create more financial ease, peace, and freedom in our lives, right? That's part of why I created Financial Freedom 101, which is our signature online 3-day event that's designed to give you the financial education that you never got in school or at home growing up. And over just 3 days, you'll get all the skills, tools, and systems you need to become financially secure for the rest of your life. So if you want to check that out, go to financialfreedom101online.com or click the link in the description. And that is a place where we're going to just talk openly about money all day for 3 days. And I hope to see you there.
Everyone take 5 steps back. Now, using the same number line, can everyone walk over to the spot that indicates how much savings you have?
I was in the cannabis industry before I went to grad school, and so I was able to, I knew down the line I'd probably hit some kind of storm somewhere, and it is she who's supporting me right now.
I was just gonna say shit happens. You kind of got to use it, like you said, for emergencies, and I was just helping out my family a lot because of just rent, evictions. My dad passed, so things like that.
With my previous job, living paycheck to paycheck, and I feel like, unfortunately, I would love to have savings for a rainy day, for emergencies, but that just has not been the case, unfortunately. It's like, as soon as I get paid, rent, bills, living expenses, and especially like being in LA, everything is so expensive. It's like, if I even want to have a little bit of fun and a little bit of disposable income, I'll spend my money on that. And so savings is like not even really an option at the moment.
So this is interesting, like 5 out of 7 of them, most of them don't have any savings, which I assume also means they don't have any investments. I hope they ask about that, because this is about who's richer. Like, are we even going to talk about assets and net wealth, or is it all about income? Because again, it's not really how much money you make, it's like what you do with that and how you get your money growing for you. And I feel like everybody's so focused on income that it just kind of like keeps you trapped in this rat race. But the fact that we've got most of these gals that are 30 and have nothing set aside, that's scary. And I can relate. I've been there, you know, when I lost everything in the crash and I had to build back up. But I'll give you a tip that was really helpful for me, because everyone says, oh, you should have 3 to 6 months of living expenses saved up. And I was like, oh my God, how am I ever going to do that? That's going to take me like 20 years, you know? And in the meantime, there's emergencies, because it's going to take me even longer. I'm never going to be able to do it. And one tip that helped me was to just get started with saving up $1,000 in a separate account for, you know, rainy days. And like that $1,000, that felt like an achievable goal. And ultimately, yeah, you want to have more. Ultimately, that's not enough. But I will tell you, having been in that situation, that even $1,000 is life-changing, because now what would have been a major financial issue is just a minor inconvenience. Like once I got up to that $1,000, my car needed a new tire and I could just get one, right? So it was inconvenient, but it wasn't like, oh my God, now I have no way to get around, right? I had to go to the doctor. I was able to pay the copay. So that $1,000 can give you quite a bit of breathing room, actually. And I was even able to increase the deductibles on my insurance because I now had $1,000, right? So I increased my deductibles from like $250 or $500 to $1,000. That then took my insurance premiums down. And now all of a sudden there's cash flow that I could use to save and invest more. So if you've been like, oh my God, savings, like starting with that like smaller specific goal can really help.
Picture of what I thought 30 was supposed to look like, and seeing the spectrum, I was like, this is a wide spectrum. Like there's no right or wrong. There's no timeline. There's no deadline. Like just live your life, do your thing. Like we're all on our own paths and we're right on time.
Now we're going to talk about relationships and sex.
Okay.
What? Relationships and sex? I thought this was about money and who's the richest. So we talked about salary, we talked about savings. Not going to talk about investments. Now we're going to go to relationships and sex. I feel a little bit misled with the title of this video. Although, you know, when I think about, if you look at the word wealthy, it comes from the Old English for well-being. And when you look at the definition of prosperity, it's a state of flourishing that often encompasses money, but other things like health and relationships. So if they want to be looking at like how rich do you feel in all aspects of your life, okay, I can get behind this. But yeah, I don't know where we're going with this.
What's your body count?
I think I'm here. I've had 7 boyfriends, most of them long term, and then I'm just kind of rounding out whatever happens.
Body count? That sounds like how many people you murdered. Like they expect all these women to be serial killers. But I think they're saying how many people you slept with or how many people you dated. Body count, that's a very weird term. And by the way, what does that have to do with who's the richest? So I'm not on board with the body count thing. I don't think that has anything to do with fulfillment in life or how rich you are, anything. So I'm wondering if maybe what they did was they just got women in a studio and like asked these different questions and then made up the title later, because I feel like we've gone way off the path here.
I don't do the app thing. I don't date a lot or hook up a lot. There's a word for this. It's called demisexual, where you need an emotional attachment to someone to be attracted to them. I'm very much a girl.
Okay, I'm just gonna fast forward by this whole like body count thing, because I don't think that's relevant for this channel where we're talking about personal finance. So let's skip on to the next question.
Everyone please walk to the spot that shows how many relationships you've had thus far in your life, like serious relationships.
I feel like that first heartbreak that we get as women, we kind of get that like fantasy shattered, and then that kind of shatters the like, oh, I should be saving myself. You're like, where is he? When is he coming? How long am I supposed to not do this thing?
Okay, again, so like how many relationships have you had? I don't feel like that's relevant in terms of how rich are you, how prosperous are you in your life, because maybe you meet the right person in your teens and you stay married your whole life, and that's fantastic, or you never get married. Maybe you meet somebody, later in life, like I did. And I don't know that like when you meet the right person is any kind of reflection on how wealthy or prosperous you are. So I'm going to skip this one too. So let's see what the next question is.
We're going to talk about our bodies, our physical health, and weight. Are you comfortable weighing yourself?
Not really, but I'll do it. Okay, so I'm about 150-ish according to this scale though, because I weighed myself on a digital scale a few days ago. It was a little different. Definitely less. It's very petite, slim. I'm definitely gonna say less than me.
Okay, so we went from money stuff to relationship stuff. Now, if they had said something like rate your relationship satisfaction 1 to 10, okay, that would be relevant to like wealth and prosperity, but just number of relationships, I don't feel. And now they're going to your weight? Like, what? And they're just like guessing if the next person weighs more or less than them. I mean, I will say that makes more sense to guess based on looking at somebody than like how much money you make. But this is still very weird. And when I looked at the Jubilee YouTube channel, I saw that they had one of these videos for men. And now I'm like, are they asking the dudes how much they weigh? Like what the actual, is this something where like women are attaching their sense of self-worth to how much they weigh? I mean, health is obviously part of living in prosperity. So you want to have like vibrant health and vitality. But I think that having them weigh themselves on a show that's about which woman is the richest is really weird. Okay, we're going to skip this too. This is not going to help you create financial freedom to learn about how much these different women weigh. Let's see if they ever get back to money.
Okay, let's move on to the topic of family. So this is a little different. The line will be changing to yes or no. Do you have kids?
I feel like once you have kids.
Do you have kids? Okay, this one a little bit more related to money because as we know, children are expensive. So I'll roll with this one. But I still like, how come we're not talking about investments and assets and net wealth? And how about, do you own a house or do you rent? Like all of that's a lot more related to money. But children, children are a pretty big line item in the budget. So let's see where they go with this.
That's all you want to talk about. And I thought that was a joke before I had them. But yes, I have kids. It's completely refocused my life. It literally gave me your priority levels just completely shift. It's insane. I do not think she has kids just because the way she was talking about her business, her baby is her kid right now.
That was such an eloquent explanation.
Her business is her baby. Yes, I think that for a lot of women entrepreneurs, that can be the case. Some women will start a business because they want time to be with their kids and their jobs aren't allowing for that. And they're like, I want something more flexible where I can be with my babies. Some women, their business is their baby. But I do think that this is relevant to women in wealth because, you know, we still do so much of the unpaid labor. And even like the mental and emotional labor as well. And all of that can have an impact on your ability to generate and invest your money.
I'm gonna say you don't have kids either. You give very free bird energy.
No, I have a cat. I feel like you give super mom powers and like energy. And if you were a mom, I feel like you're so fit that like you don't seem like you had that like weight or nothing like that. So yeah, I'm gonna say yes.
No. No, I mean, I'm a therapist and like I've just kind of found myself like in a lot of caregiving sort of positions throughout my life, and I'm just like, I probably won't be having kids actually just because of that, because I just don't think that I just don't have it in me. Given the nature of what you said about your career and sort of like the instability that it can bring, and you just have like a really young kind of like free creative energy, like rather than a grounded mother kind of energy. I'm gonna say no.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. No, I don't think you have kids. I feel like it would have got brought up during the financial conversation.
She said she was waiting to put on weight.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I'm like, you were not pregnant.
No.
Wait,
No way.
oh my God, I'm gonna cry. Yeah, I have 3 kids.
No.
She has 3 kids. So I think that's where that groundedness comes from maybe, or maybe that's just her, but like, wow. And so my next question is, with 3 kids, I think she was the one that said she wasn't making any money. How are you all eating? Are we going to talk about that?
My oldest is 3. And my twins are 2. I honestly didn't expect, I know it probably sounds crazy, but I didn't expect anyone to talk about children at all. I was trying to keep it inside that I had kids.
I wonder why she tried to keep it inside that she has kids. Because that's a very important part of your financial picture. And depending on like your vision for your life, having kids or not having kids could be a big part of that feeling of fulfillment and prosperity. So yeah, it's interesting that she would say that.
Hey. So I would just say no, honestly. I didn't get that vibe. It seems like you might be really career oriented. I would say no.
I do not have kids, you're right. I want kids for sure, but just not yet.
How does it feel to know that people don't think you look like you had kids? Maybe it's,
Oh, no one ever does.
No, it's just her body type, literally, and the fact that she was like, oh, I want that Rihanna like pop, like I struggle to put on weight. I'm like, well, you know what I don't struggle with right now after having a kid? That.
Yeah, I feel like the societal conversation around like women and having kids, I feel like 30 seems to be this like number where it's like, okay, where's your kids? But I also feel like our generation, that conversation is kind of changing, because I know personally there's a lot of women that I know that are like, I don't want kids. Like that's just not something that I aspire to do.
Do you feel like you lived up to the expectations of society?
I feel like society, genuinely. If you want to have a kid, have a kid. If you don't, please don't, because they don't act.
There you go. If you don't, please don't. Yeah, I definitely admire people who are like, you know what? I don't want kids, because it is so hard. It is so hard. Like you gotta want them, right? Like to put yourself through that when you don't really want it. Yeah, that is not so great, right? And it's interesting to see, like, of these, this segment of 7 30-year-old women, only 2 of them are moms. I remember when I was growing up, and I'm older than they are, but you know, I was always thinking that like mid to late 20s was like the optimal time to have kids. I think my mom was 23 when she had me. I'm the oldest of our batch, our generation. My dad was 24. So like, you know, maybe about that, maybe a little later, like that sounded good to me. For me, 26. 26 was the age. I'm like, that's when I'm going to get married and have kids. It didn't happen until I was late 30s, but that's what I had in my mind. And I think that there's also, as cost of living is going up, as we're in like a huge affordability crisis now, I think more people are like, hey, you know, maybe don't take on that huge expense and all that responsibility. And I can appreciate that. And I don't even think, I'm not even worried about that, because we have such a large population that if everybody doesn't want to be popping out kids, like, it's probably a good thing. And if you don't really want it, then probably shouldn't, right? So it's interesting.
We don't ask to come here. We bring them here. So unless you're ready to actually be the parent that you either had or wish you had, don't do it, because it's a lot of work.
It's totally opposite in my family. They're like, don't have any more kids. What are you doing with kids? But see, that's my mom's side's from LA, and then my dad, his family in St. Martin. Like the culture in St. Martin is totally different. So I'm constantly in between these two worlds. But I'm an American, you know, I'm a Californian at the end of the day, and I never planned to have kids. I never was really into the mom thing or anything like that. But I'm an older sister. I love being a mom, you know.
Can I just say something for the younger girls watching this? For me, at least, as I was approaching 30 years old, your biological clock to me is like my mentality. Like I started thinking about kids and a family, and I never thought about that stuff before, but hormonally you're changing and your thought process is just different, at least in my experience. So especially if you have a partner that you're in love with and stuff, you know, once you get, it's like you don't even, it's like two different people. It's like the younger version of myself wouldn't be having these thoughts, but then now I'm like, oh, you know. I was almost a mom this year, and it was, I went through a pretty traumatic situation, which is normal. When I was in the position where I was going to be a mom, I had so many people around me that judged if I was going to be able to do that or not because of where I am in my career, because of my finances, because of my personality. It was contrasting how I felt inside and what I knew about myself and everything I've been through, and how I know that I will be an amazing mother and I will unconditionally love my children, and I really wanted that. But yeah, I think like just the question kind of just gave me a freaking panic attack.
After playing this game and comparing your life with others, please stand on the spot from 1 to 10 that reflects how satisfied you feel with your life thus far.
.1.
I gave myself an extra point.
I originally gave myself a 7, and I chose 9.
I'm giving myself a 6, and I gave myself an 8 at first.
A 4.5.
I give myself a 6.
So this is interesting. I mean, I do think like ranking your overall life satisfaction, that feeds into, you know, like true wealth and prosperity and all of that. But it's interesting to see how, like, by comparing themselves to other people, some people rank themselves higher, some people rank themselves lower. And at the end of the day, like, I don't think the comparison is super helpful. Or if you're going to compare yourself to people that make you feel better.
So I originally said 7, and I'm currently standing at 8, because I feel like talking to everybody made me realize that we're all on our own independent path, and we all have such different stories, and recognizing that I'm pretty happy with where I am and what I've accomplished on a personal scale.
I feel the exact same, mostly because I'm basing it on my perception of where I wanted to be by the time I was 30. I don't really care about what society or what other women, where they rank into it.
I'm realizing that even though Financially, it's, you know, not exactly where I want to be. It's when I'm talking with these other women, we have a lot more in common than that.
Over the last couple of years, I definitely had some moments just because of career, because of relationship, because of feeling like I wasn't where I thought I was supposed to be in life. I definitely had a lot of moments where I felt like a failure. Oh, I don't want to cry. But I'm proud of myself because I know that.
That's hard, you know, that feeling of like, am I failing? And this is another reason I want to see more women come together to lift each other up and support each other and cheer each other on. So nobody has to feel alone or like they have to do it all on their own or like they're failing, because yeah, there's life circumstances that we always have to navigate. But I love the definition of success as success is the consistent pursuit of a worthy goal, you know? So as long as you're still going for like making that impact you want to make, designing the life you want to live, you know, shining your light, living your truth, all that stuff, then even if you hit speed bumps along the way, I would still count that a resounding success.
I'm not a failure, and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do at the time that I'm supposed to do it, and I'm proud of myself for that.
The higher of a number I think of when I think about how happy I am, the more entropy I find myself in. There tends to be a little bit more avoidance, a little bit more, oh, things are fine. Actually, like, not. I see a lot of the ways that I'm stuck, and at the same time, holy shit, there's so many roads. There's too many roads to follow.
I very much like advocate positive, strong-minded thoughts to my family and to online, but I feel like I'm super not happy, and ever since losing my dad last year, like, turned my life upside down, honestly. My family, I hope they're not watching this because they'd be really pissed at me, but I try to keep going and stay strong and stay positive and keep doing what I'm doing, following my dreams and my passion and dance ever since I was young, and everyone keeps telling me, keep going, keep going, keep going. And I'm trying to keep going, but, you know, and they say that like, oh, your dad would be so upset that you're quitting. And I'm trying to not quit because of that, so.
Oh man, so that's interesting. Like, first of all, how awesome that she has a family that supports her in her vision and her passions, and like, keep going, you can do it. Like, that's so cool, because there's so many families that are like, look, you can be whatever you want as long as you're a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer, you know? And if someone wants to go into a more creative direction, they're like, no, you're never going to make it. You're not good enough, blah, blah, blah. Like, when I was young, one of the things I wanted to be was an actress. And someone in my family told me, look, you're never going to make it as an actress. You're too short and you're too fat, and it's not going to happen. Like, why would you tell a child that? You know, like, why would you ever like try to clip somebody's wings and cut them down to size and like tell them that they can't succeed? So like, I think it's wonderful that her family and friends are supportive of her, actually. And isn't this interesting? She's actually kind of using it as a way to beat herself up and make it a negative. Like, your dad wouldn't approve if you quit. So what I would encourage her, if, you know, I forget her name, but like, if you ever see this, here's my encouragement for you and myself. And if you're watching this, it's not so much about like what anybody else thinks, like whether they think you can or whether they think you should keep going for it or whatever. It's like, come into alignment with your own truth. Where is it that you want to put your energy? And your passions aren't necessarily always what's going to make you money, right? Like, you want to look at what's the intersection of what you like, what you're good at, what the marketplace values, you know? And some of us are lucky enough to figure out how to create a career around our passions. Like what I'm doing now, this is a passion business. I don't have to record these YouTube videos. I do it because I love it. This is part of my creative expression and my legacy, and it fuels my soul, right? But on the other hand, my husband, you know, like his job, that's not his personal passion. Like, he very much works to live. You know, he doesn't live to work. And sometimes what you do is you take that paycheck and you invest it, and then you go pursue your passions in different ways. Like, my husband has his music. and his car racing, his guitars, his bird, like lots of personal passions that he doesn't have to worry about monetizing. So I just like encourage you to not worry so much about what other people are saying. If they're saying you can't do this something, if they're saying you should do something, and be like, what's my truth now? And you know what? It's okay to change your mind. Like maybe you wanted to do this dance thing and now you realize like maybe you want to do it, but not as your career. You know, like I love writing, but I don't necessarily want to like be a full-time author and have the pressure of like, that's what I have to do to make money, right? I am working on a new book, and it's, again, that's part of my creative expression, my legacy, the impact I want to create on the world. I'm not counting on making a cent from it. If I do, freaking great. But let's pull apart this whole like my self-worth and my passion and my career and the way I make money. Like that all has to like collapse into one thing. Oh, and I need my family to approve of that. And so much tangled up in that. So I hope she and you could just like take a breath and like tap into your own truth and guidance before listening to what anybody else says, including me.
At this point in my life right now, I'm not happy, but I'm super inspired. And I know that last year and a couple months ago, I was over there feeling very great about my life. Or even before my dad passed, I was feeling very great about my life. And I know that next year is gonna be different.
I mean, I have a lot of expectations on myself. You know, I went to college and I have a lot of people in my ear, and I have my girls looking up to me, but I'm so proud of myself because, and the fact that I'm actually doing my art and I'm dancing and I'm doing poetry and I'm writing my books.
And if you're doing any of that with 3 young children, I think she said her kids were 3 and 2, that is amazing. Like if you get to go to the bathroom by yourself with 3 children, that is amazing. So yeah, she should feel proud. I'm glad she does.
Such a hard push. I like to keep myself right here so I can give myself room to grow because I have so many projects and so many things I want to do with my girls. I've been able to travel the world and I can't wait to travel the world with them. So this is motivation for me.
Oh, they brought her kids. That is so sweet. Oh my God. I mean, I know that for me too, you know, I have right now I have an 8-year-old and a 3-year-old, and getting to be there for them and experience life with them and cultivate relationships with them and teach them, like that's really, really important to me. So, yeah, this is a surprise emotional hit, but like, in a good way.
8.
Sorry. When I didn't fully understand life until I had my children, and then as I had my twins, it's like my heart expanded. So when I saw them walking in, and even just thinking about them, I'm just so happy I get to be a mom for them, because some people don't have a mom at all. Even though my circumstances might not be the best, I still get to be there with them. We get to dance compa together. We get to dance together. We get to make epis. We get to, you know, I get to talk to them in multiple cultures, and I get to give so much to them because I'm their mother. You know, something that no one else could give them but me, and I'm just so happy to be playing my role and that I stepped up to the plate despite everything. So yeah.
Oh man. Whew. Yeah, I like, to me, like that is very much an example of living in prosperity, that she's getting to have this incredible experience with her daughters, and that very much fits in with feeling wealthy and rich and prosperous and all those good things. You know, it's interesting stuff. It definitely, you know, it made me laugh, made me cry. I hope we all learned something. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button for the YouTube algorithm, leave a comment, and if there's any other videos you want me to react to, let me know. Most importantly, If you want to talk about building real wealth and financial freedom, then a great first step is to check out my ebook, The Financial Freedom Formula. It's free, quick read, but super powerful, because that can set you up to be financially secure for the rest of your life. So we'll put the link to that in the description, and I look forward to seeing you on the other side.